Biz Accelerator, your ultimate guide to launching, growing, and scaling a thriving online fitness business. I'm your host, Tobias Young. And whether you're just starting out or looking to take your business to the next level, this podcast is packed with actionable tips, real world strategies, and the insights you need to crush your business goals and build the business of your dreams. Now that you're here, let's dive in. Hey, welcome back to the FitBiz Accelerator, the podcast for online fitness coaches and entrepreneurs who are ready to scale with smart systems, bold strategies, and proven frameworks. So today's topic is going to be something that every coach should be paying attention to. And this is email list growth, but it's not in the typical way, you guys. Okay. We're going to be talking about organic, automated, and completely ad-free. And my guest today is Tracy Beavers, who is an experienced business coach and a visibility expert who helps entrepreneurs grow their email list every single day without having to rely on paid traffic or constantly giving away new lead magnets. She's built a reputation for helping people completely turn their platforms into client generating assets. And this is all without the pressure of being everywhere all the time. We've all felt that pressure, right? So, Tracy, welcome to the show.
Thank
Let's
you.
dive in.
Yeah.
Um, First of all, what drew you into the space? You have a background in sales and
Mhm.
business and coaching, but what made you specialize in helping entrepreneurs grow their visibility and
Mhm.
actually their email list as well, of course?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, my background came from an over 20-year award-winning sales career in corporate. And I very quickly realized that even though I had a commission structure and I thought I had control over how much money I could make, you can't do that when the company wants to change the commission structure all the time. So, I decided to take my gifts and talents and come into the online space as a business and sales coach. And what I started to recognize was that I had a lot of clients and students that were creating awesome offers, but they didn't have anybody to sell them to because they hadn't built an audience and they hadn't built an email list. And then the other mistake that I was seeing them make was, um, you know, a lot of the list building coaches teach to create a free lead magnet and put it out on social media, and that's super important. We have to do that. We have to have a couple of really high converting free things, but there's so many other things we can do to ramp up visibility and grow a list. And then there's the mistakes that people make with paid ads. All of that kind of rolled into and helped me evolve to where I am now.
Gotcha. No, I appreciate you kind of filling us in with everything in here. And, so many coaches actually think that email's dead, or that people don't have to sign up for lists anymore unless you bribe them with a lead magnet. But what's your
Mhm.
take on that belief or misbelief?
Yeah. Oh gosh. I was trying to adjust my volume there, Tobias. You want to say that one more time?
Yeah, I was talking about how a lot of coaches think that email is just completely dead
Oh
or that
yeah.
people don't sign up for lists anymore
Yeah.
unless you use lead magnets. So I was just asking, like, what's your take on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So email lists are not dead. It's just the strategies that people are using that are kind of old and tired. People still do want to be part of an email list. I mean, if you think about it, our favorite brands, how many emails do you get from your favorite brands during the day? Probably two or three. And so people still want to be part of that. It's just that we have to be better about the content that we share with them and making sure that what we're emailing them is something that interests them and something that's going to help them. I mean, that's the key to it is we can't just, and it has to be about the other person.
Yeah.
It can't be me sharing, just being having a one-sided conversation, because what we want to do in the inbox is the same thing we want to do in the DMs is we really want to build a relationship with that other person and make a connection. And we can't do that if we're not having more of a conversation, like we're talking to that one person in front of us at the coffee shop, not a whole subscriber list full
Yeah.
of people, that kind of thing. So yeah, email is alive and well.
Yes, I agree with that too. So, and for any coaches that are listening who don't have huge audiences, maybe you're just getting started and you're at 500 to 1,000 followers or email lists. Um, Do they need a big platform in order to grow their email list if there's like don't have a big social media following yet?
No, I'm living proof of that. So when I first started out building this business, it was alongside my corporate job because I couldn't just quit cold turkey. When it came to social media, back then LinkedIn was a place to go get a job. Now it's completely different. Now it's more of a social media platform where you can be a thought leader and things like that. Instagram was foreign to me. I didn't use it. I was never on it, paid no attention to it. Facebook was my jam. It was where I was all the time. It's where everybody that I knew was all the time. So I went all in on Facebook. And then I started building my email list. And I think to this day, it still surprises people all these years later and all of the money later that I've made. Because I have a business that generates well over six figures a year. And I achieved that in my second full year of business using only Facebook as my platform. I did not have the following I have now. Um, and I think I had 400 followers on Instagram just kind of by accident, really.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how that happened. I put stuff on Instagram, people followed me. I was like, okay, cool. That's great. But my email list at that time was probably around 1,500 to 2,500 people. And now it surprises people to know that my email list hovers between 3,500 and 4,500 people at any given time because we scrub it.
Yeah.
I do not want dead weight on my email list. But also my social media following, it's good, but it's not massive. I do not have 10,000 followers on Instagram, you know? So, no, you do not have to have a big list. You do not have to have a huge following. A really great example of this is a client that hired me last summer to help her grow her list and make some money. I think it would shock you to know how many followers she had on Instagram. 600,000 followers on Instagram, and she
Whoa.
was making no money.
Yeah.
So, those vanity numbers, they're really fun and they feel really good. But my question is always, well, how much money is that making you?
Yeah. I agree. I get spammed with all these ads too because you see all these new apps that come out and be like go viral and
Yeah.
do all these things and it has all these visual effects and
Yeah.
things. But if you target a specific audience, right? If you're a
Mhm.
coach that works with post menopausal women or whatever
Uh-huh.
it is, or guys that want to get shredded,
Yeah.
and you're putting out content to everybody, then you're not going to be like laser targeting that
Mhm.
audience. And so you may build followers, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be like those people that are going to want to buy anything from you. And then
Exactly.
when you put out other content that they don't resonate with, because now you're trying to get laser targeted,
Yeah.
now your algorithm reach is going to be hindered because there's not going to be the percentage of people that are interacting, so it blunts. So it's like literally
Yeah.
the opposite effect in there too. And I think a lot of people get blinded by thinking, man, I got to have so many followers in there.
Yeah. You
You
don't.
don't. I've had coaches that had less than 1,000 followers. I remember Rosa
Mhm.
had like 800 followers and she hit 10K a month in her very first month of going online.
Yeah.
Never did less than that. So
Yeah. No,
yeah,
that's amazing. That's
yeah,
amazing. And going viral, okay, it's fun, but again, is it making you any money?
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, that whole thing kind of I could get on a soapbox about it.
Yeah, and one thing I see too, Tracy, is I see a lot of coaches who are just posting a ton of content, but they never see any traction.
Yeah.
So, how do you recommend people shift from just showing up online to actually growing a list and
Mhm.
bringing in leads?
Great question. So we have to make sure. So I don't want somebody creating content to create content just to have stuff out there. That is not the goal. More content does not mean more money. Good content means money. And what I try to help my clients and students do, if they're especially if they're just starting out, or maybe they're a year or so in, or maybe they are 5 or 6 years in and they're exhausted, I think it's better to pick one platform, go all in on it, get it converting for you, learn the algorithm for that particular platform, learn where to find your ideal clients on that platform, and begin pulling them, attracting them to you with that awesome content, but pulling them offline onto your email list because the email list is one of the only things we own. And that's where you can have that really great inbox conversation with them. But, I don't ever want anybody to think that so we need to make our social media content enough to be consistent every week. But when I say consistent, I don't ever want anybody to think that what I mean by consistent is they've got to post 7 days a week, and certainly not on all the platforms. because that's a recipe for disaster. We're just going to exhaust ourselves. So if somebody listening only has the time and energy each week to post 4 times, that's cool. You can still create an awesome audience because when you are consistent with your content, that's what the algorithm loves. They're like, oh, here comes Tracy Beavers again. Oh, Tobias commented on her stuff. Her stuff must be valuable. Oh, here comes Tracy Beavers again. Susie commented on her stuff. And so the algorithm starts to like you and pick you up. And when you stay consistent that way, even if it is 3 to 4 days a week on that platform, if you keep going with that week in, week out, whether you feel like it or not, kind of like going to the gym and doing the reps, right?
Yep.
Then that is what is going to help you grow versus spraying out 7 days a week worth of stuff that doesn't really doesn't have the right messaging, and then exhausting yourself, taking a week off because you're tired, coming back and try it again the next week. So that content needs to be enough to be consistent, but also drawing to your list. So social media content for me needs to do one of two things. It either needs to draw engagement, so I get more algorithm favor, or it needs to draw to my email list in some way. And that could be come join my free Facebook group because of the way that my membership entry questions are set up. You want to join my email list. It could be check out the latest episode of my podcast because of the way I have my podcast set up in the audio and in the show notes. There is a way for you to get on my email list. It could be, did you catch the last thing I did on my YouTube channel? Again, because the audio and the description notes go to my email list. And so I want people to remember, this is what I teach my clients, I mean, students, all roads lead to list building. The action that you're going to take today in your business, whether it's being a podcast guest, doing a live collaboration with somebody else, being a guest expert in a group coaching program, or posting on social media or going live, that has to grow your email list in some way. And if you do that and you keep that top of mind, you're going to be golden, and you're going to
Yeah.
start to grow that audience.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you mentioned that you own your email list because a lot
Yes.
of people forget about that.
Yeah.
Because if Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or any of these platforms goes down, which can definitely happen, we already
Oh
know
yeah.
what could happen to TikTok like any moment. And
I
everybody
know.
who spent all this time like building it up,
Yeah.
or it gets bought out and they completely change algorithms or whatever it is,
Yeah.
they own that. You don't own anything. If they want to
Uh-uh.
shut down your account, like if somebody breaks in your account and spams people and like or
Yep.
whatever happens, like your account's dead. You're
Yep.
done. Where
You're
your
done.
email list, nobody can take that from you. And you can
Exactly.
show your own personality. You can have fun with that.
Yes, for
So,
sure.
Tracy, what's a common mistake that you see people making with how they position themselves on social media?
I see a lot of marketing that doesn't feel authentic, and recently a lot of marketing that looks like it's coming out of Chat GPT. I think I hope we're turning back toward a time when we are allowing our true, authentic personalities to come through, not trying to be somebody we're not trying to give just a highlight reel, not trying to talk at people, rather creating content that draws them in to who we are and how we can serve them, but including them in the conversation. Because if we're just coming at, like, there's a difference between, in marketing, there's push marketing and there's pull marketing. Pull marketing, also known as attraction marketing. Push marketing, you guys are real familiar with radio ads, TV ads, billboards, magazine ads coming at you. Buy my stuff. Call this number and get this free thing. We need pull marketing where it's a more feels more like a conversation. It feels more like I'm giving you value and teaching you something, but I'm also asking you, what do you think about it? Or I'm
Mhm.
giving you a reason to come join my conversation on my email list.
Yeah.
So that's a mistake that I make, is a lot of
Yeah.
talking at people.
Yeah, I love that. And you talk a lot about just building genuine relationships instead of just
Yes.
hunting for leads, right?
Yes.
What are a few simple ways that coaches can build real connections that also grow their business too?
Love this question. So what had made me so successful in sales for so many years was that I took the sale, the transaction, completely out of my head. Just don't even think about it. I am meeting another warm, kind human being I'm a warm, kind human being meeting another warm, kind human being. And I am there to have a conversation. And I am there to get to know that other person, find common ground if we have it, and see where this relationship, this connection could lead. Because the truth is, not everybody we meet could be our ideal client, but that doesn't mean it's not time well spent, because that person could connect us to our next ideal client.
Mhm.
That person could end up wanting to be a referral partner of ours. That person could end up inviting us to be on their top ranked podcast, or knows somebody that's got a top ranked podcast that we need to be on. So we never know where these connections are going to go. And that's why it's so important to just focus on building those relationships with people. And we can do that very easily once we get them onto our email list. There's some really fun ways to get your list to reply back to you. When I think about sending an email to my list, I feel like I'm landing in their living room when I land in their inbox. Because when you land in my inbox, I feel like you're in my living room. I mean, it's that close, it's that personal. And everybody's got an inbox, versus whether or not you see my post on social media remains to be seen, because not everybody sees everything we do. But in that inbox, if I can think of creative ways to get you to reply back, that's when you and I can have a conversation and I can get to know you. And then the next time we have that conversation, I'm remembering what we talked about.
Mhm.
What I love about having my own free Facebook group, I think it makes sense for 9 out of 10 businesses, is that it's a really easy yes for my ideal clients to want to come into my free group full of online entrepreneurs to get support in their business and be able to promote their offers. But it gives me an opportunity to have a DM conversation with them and build a relationship that way. So there's two really good ways that I use to build relationships. Networking is great,
Yep.
obviously, but DM conversations, inbox conversations, that's where the conversions are going to happen. At least that's where they happen for me.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously, a lot of fitness coaches also they feel awkward sometimes when they're new to that, or
Yeah.
if it's something out of their comfort zone, whether it's about networking or putting themselves out there.
Mhm.
So, what advice do you have for those who feel like they're just bothering people when they reach out?
Oh gosh. I keep saying this, but you're asking such. I'm like, this is another great question. So I was just having this conversation with a gal that I was interviewing for my podcast, and she talked about how when she first started her business, she struggled with imposter syndrome. Who am I to do this? Who am I to charge this? What are other people going to think? Especially if, like me, you had a corporate job and now I'm going out into the world talking about being an online business coach. I could very easily get stuck in my head going, well, what is everybody that used to know me from corporate going to think? And the thing is, and this is just what I believe that we were all given gifts and talents by God, and we are put on this earth to use them. And when I have days like that, I have to remind myself, okay, Tracy Beavers, get over yourself. God gave you these gifts and talents to help people with their sales, to help people have authentic conversations in the DMs, to help people grow their list and get that income they want for their family. How dare you not share it?
Yeah.
How dare you not? It's
Yeah.
disrespectful,
Yep.
And so I have to get over myself and I have to realize that there are people waiting for me to help them.
Yes.
And how can I not do that?
Yeah.
And that's what the way I would love for your coaches to feel too is there are so many people like me. For example, I'm 55 years old battling perimenopause. If I ran into a fitness coach that was like, I have helped 10 people just like you in the last 6 months regulate their hormones and not kill themselves in the gym, I'd be like, "Okay, help me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sign me up."
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely too. And this is how I kind of think of it, because I know a lot of coaches are kind of like scared to do this. If you're not
Yeah.
putting out content, if you're not reaching out to those people that are engaging in your content, that are already showing that they're fans of you,
Yes.
um, then a couple things are going to happen. So one thing that could happen is they're going to stay stuck. You are not going to help them. You have the talent to help them, but you let them stay stuck because
Yep.
you are not like just reaching out to those people.
Yeah.
Second thing that can happen is another fitness coach that isn't scared to just talk to them and have a conversation is going to
Yep.
just do it because you're not doing it. And then
Exactly.
you're going to lose a potential client.
Yeah,
So
you're so right.
my 2 cents.
I love it. I love
Yep.
both of those things. Those are so true. They're either, yeah, you're either not doing them any favors or they're going to go hire your competitor.
Yeah. Yep.
That didn't Neither one of those things feel good to me.
Yeah, and the worst case scenario that can happen is you give them some value and they're
Mhm.
not ready right now, and that's
Right.
perfectly fine. Not everybody's going to want to jump in your program right away, and you can't take
Exactly.
that personal. Some people
Mhm.
never will, and that's fine. And other people will be like 6 months from now, they'll be like, "Oh, you know what? I'm finally ready." Or they
Yes.
hit a milestone where they go to the doctor, and the doctor says, "Hey, you have high blood pressure. You got to do something about this now." And they're like, "Oh my god, I finally got to fix this." Or
Exactly.
maybe they hear something from their kid that calls them, "What happened to you, mommy or daddy?" Like, and you're like, "Oh,
Right.
no.
When the
Okay, I
kid when
gotta
the
fix
kid
this."
likes to pinch the underarm fat right here,
And
that's
you're like,
always a
"Oh."
treat.
Yeah,
That's always
that's
a
a
treat.
stab to the gut,
Yeah,
right?
I'm
So
like,
you're like, "Ah."
"Don't touch me there, that's mean."
Yeah. So let's shift to visibility. What does visibility really mean in today's online space? And is it about being seen more often or being seen
Ooh.
more clearly?
Ooh, nobody's ever asked me that before. I think it's a combination of both, often and more clearly, because we do want to be consistent enough, often enough to get the favor of the algorithm, to get the visibility high. But then we also want to be clear once we get the visibility in our marketing messaging. So for me, it feels like a combination of both things. It's a both and. Visibility for me does not mean being online 24/7, 365. What it means to me is employing strategies like the ones that I teach so that it looks like you are to your audience that says, "Oh my gosh, Tobias, all of a sudden I'm seeing you everywhere." And you're over there grinning from ear to ear going, "Fabulous. My strategies are working while I'm out playing with my kids, or I'm at the gym, or I'm coaching a client. It's working in the background of my business." And that's what visibility means to me. Visibility means to be consistent, to keep showing up even when nobody's buying what we're selling, like you're saying. Nobody seems to be interested in what we're doing. Nobody's engaging with our content. I hear that a lot. Nobody's engaging with my content. Well, you know what? I have days where I go live and nobody's there. It's just me.
Yep.
But people are looking, they are watching, I had a gal join my program. This is a good example. I had a gal join my program. I'd never seen her name before. I had no idea where she came from. I was so excited. And I just said, "Hey, how did you find me? How did we connect?" She goes, "Oh, I've been following you for over a year. I love everything you're doing." And I was like, to her, I said, "That's fabulous." In my head, I was like, "That's nuts. How is that possible?" But
Yeah.
it's absolutely possible.
Yeah. No, I know. It happens all the time. I'm just like,
Yes.
whoa, like
Yeah.
you never liked or commented on any of my posts, but there's lurkers out there and you're nurturing your
Yes.
audience, you guys, by
Yes.
giving value. So just make sure that you keep going out there because not
Absolutely.
everybody is that type of person that loves to like and comment on posts. Some people
No.
just like to, look at content and you
Mhm.
are nurturing them.
Yep.
And Tracy, you've helped people grow their lists organically,
Yes.
even without running, webinars, paid ads,
Mhm.
lead magnets, doing big launches.
Mhm.
What do you believe is the real driver of sustainable list growth?
Oh gosh, you do have such good questions. I swear. Every time you ask me one, I'm like, nobody's ever asked me that before. Way to go, man.
Thank you.
Um, so goodness. Sustainable list growth is that was the question, right?
Yes.
So with the strategies that I teach, when we layer them in the proper order, that's when you start to get that automatic list growth every day and you don't have to think about it. Um, Without the paid ads and without more free lead magnets, one of the biggest things that grows my list is making sure that wherever I have a social media profile, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, if you're in a community that's on Mighty Networks, Circle, Heartbeat, one of those community platforms, make sure that social media profile is a list growth funnel for you. My Facebook personal profile is a prime example. People can go there now. I'm Tracy Lane Beavers on Facebook. I'm very easy to find. That you're going to see that I have every nook and cranny that Facebook gave me on that personal profile is filled in. It is very easy to see who I am, who I serve, how I serve them. It's very easy for you to connect with me and find me. And my cover photo is my list growth funnel. So then when I go out to network, when I go out to be visible in other people's Facebook groups, even the ones that don't allow promotion, that personal profile is like a billboard that does the work for me. I don't have to promote myself. I don't have to say, "I've got 20 years of experience. You should listen to me." I am simply showing up and being of service in different communities, whether they're on Mighty Network, Circle, Heartbeat, Facebook group, whatever. And that's where the magic starts to happen. That's where that sustainability comes in for me, because I have my free Facebook group is it really sustains my list. I have hundreds of people that want to join my free group every single month. 85 to 90% of them I've never had a conversation with. But it's because I've been in a virtual networking session where I've said something that they thought was really valuable.
Nice.
Or I've been in a community on Mighty Network or somewhere, and I've made a comment that they thought was really valuable. And they go to look me up online, and they slide right down to my free Facebook group, and then they slide down onto my list.
There you
So
go.
we just have to fill in all those nooks and crannies that we have in the online space, filling what I call the gaps in your visibility and the gaps in your growth. Because if you've got a gap in your training, your personal training, that's not going to help you get to the goal you want. You got to fill those gaps and make sure you're doing every single thing you can to get to that personal training goal you've got. Right?
Yeah, and so you're kind of creating that little funnel system in there too,
Mhm.
organically through the social media profile. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And for somebody maybe that's just starting out, or maybe they're
Mhm.
established but they don't really have know really what to do for their social media profiles, and they have no email list, no website, maybe just a
Mhm.
social media profile. What would be your first three steps to start building a list this week?
Oh, yeah. So you don't need a website. I'm a prime example of that. I went 18 months without a website because tech is not my love language and I'm stubborn. I wanted to see if I could make it without one. So you definitely don't need a full blown website like the one I've got right now. So you don't worry about that. We need to make sure that you're not your I have, but your who you serve statement is very clear. I serve X so they so I help X do Y so they can Z. That needs to be very clear, and that needs to be on the social media profile. And then the entire menu of that, every nook and cranny that whatever platform you're on gives you. So Facebook, you can put your Instagram, your LinkedIn, your Pinterest, your website if you have one, your YouTube, your all your things. And then you do need, this is where a lead magnet is needed, either a free Facebook group or a free lead magnet to showcase on the cover photo that draws people in and makes them want it, so then they land on your list. And you do need to have an email service provider. Gmail and Hotmail, that's not going to cut it. We've got to have an email service provider like Flowdesk, MailerLite, ConvertKit. I use Kajabi, but not everybody needs that unless they're going to be a course creator. So those are first of all, they need to have an email service provider, and then we do need to have at least 1 to 2 good lead magnets and dial in that personal profile to showcase those, also with some social media content that showcases those. Because I have students say to me, well, I think I need to create a new lead magnet. And I'm like, how many do you have? And they're like, 3. And I'm like, why do you think you need another one? Because nobody's signing up for these. Well, come to find out, they don't have a lead mag. They don't have the lead magnet's not the problem. They have a visibility problem.
Yeah.
Nobody knows it exists.
Yep, and I see that too. And like, when I see some coaches and I look at their profiles, I don't even know that they're a freaking fitness coach. I'm like,
Exactly.
okay, you have a picture of a mountain. How are
Yes.
how are people supposed to know anything about you? You have
Thank
nothing in
you.
your bio, and you're like,
Exactly.
why am I not getting clients? Well, I wonder why, right?
Yeah,
But
nobody knows what you do. And then the
yeah,
other thing they'll say to me, the students will say to me, and I get this. They're like, Tracy, I don't want to use my Facebook personal profile for anything related to my business because my friends and family are not going to like it. And rah, rah, rah. You know what? That's not true. Your friends and family love you. You're a whole person. I'm a wife, daughter, mother, entrepreneur, and I'm going to use that Facebook platform to build my business. And if they don't like it, that's too bad. They can, go follow somebody else because I mean, they don't pay my bills. The
yeah,
other thing is that I had a student who really did not want to use her personal profile for business, but I think I finally wore her down. I think she got sick of hearing me, and she said, "Okay, fine. We'll dial it in the way you want to do it, the way you teach, and I'll do it for 30 days. But if I hate it and it feels icky, I'm going to take it back down." I said, "Cool, deal." Within 1 week, she had people sending her referrals because she was an ADHD coach that helped parents of kids with newly diagnosed navigate their diagnosis. And
nice.
her friends and family knew what she did, but they did not know what she did. And the minute they knew what she did, they were sending her business.
Yeah,
So people
yeah,
are leaving money on the table if they're not using every single nook and cranny that a social media platform gives them.
yeah. I see that all the time. And your friends and family sometimes will be some of your biggest supporters too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to keep in mind that if you just want to build a Facebook business page, you're going to start
Mhm.
from zero.
Yes.
And with a Facebook business page, you have to pay to play. With Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, they don't give you much algorithm reach on a Facebook business page. They want you to
Mhm.
run ads, right? And boost posts and do all those things. Your
Yep.
personal profile, however, they're going to give you a lot more reach. Take advantage of that.
Mhm.
Use that to get out in front of a lot of people, unless you have just,
Mhm.
thousands and thousands of dollars that you want to throw away to be able to build that, that page up. Hey,
Yeah.
but if you don't, start with your personal profile. So good
Yep. I
stuff.
agree.
And let's talk mindset, right?
Okay.
So, for a minute, what limiting beliefs do you commonly see
Mhm.
around email marketing,
Mhm.
invisibility, and how do you help people shift those?
Well, it's one we've already talked about. It's the biggest one is that feeling like, who am I to do this? What if nobody buys my stuff? What if I host a live training and nobody shows up? It's all that what if, what if, what if, what if stuff that the crap we tell
Mhm.
ourselves. I'm going to create this thing and nobody's going to buy it. Or what if I don't get it right coming out of the gate? Perfectionism gets in the way a lot. In fact, that's one of my most popular podcast episodes is all about perfectionism. Because if we're not careful, perfectionism can sneak in and like literally eat all your snacks and take over your Netflix account and move into the guest bedroom
Yeah.
before you've even known what has happened. And we have to remember that we've got gifts and talents. We've got to put them out there. We've got to go help the people. And we cannot worry about being perfect or getting it right out of the gate. I was guilty of this when I first started going live years ago. That's my regular piece of weekly content. Now we repurpose it into my podcast. I was trying to be perfect. I guess I thought I needed to be like a anchor woman or something, like reading the evening news. Do you know how boring that was? It
Yeah.
was awful. And when I finally started to loosen up and be myself and not focus so much on being perfect, that's when people started following me.
Yeah.
They loved it. Like I am prone to going live and not even turning my microphone on. It's so embarrassing. It's happened more than once that I've got a yellow sticky note over here that says turn on check your microphone.
Yeah.
And then one time I was going live and my dog needed to go outside to go to the bathroom and he was not taking no for an answer. And I was just like, oh my God. Finally, I just went, hold on, I'll be right back. I got to go right to the door, let him out.
Yeah.
And then he wanted back in. And I was like, and I thought, there goes all my credibility. Nobody's going to hire me. And you know what? My audience loved it.
Yeah.
They said, thank you for not being perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving us a giggle. And thank you for being real. And so we get all in our head and we start to tell ourselves stories that aren't even true. Here's another one that I hear a lot. And I did a podcast episode about this. When you feel like you've been ghosted. So let's say you have connected with an ideal client, you had an info call, and you're either emailing them or DMing them and you don't hear anything, or you're texting them and you don't hear
Mhm.
anything. And you see that they saw your DM message. You can see it,
Yeah.
right? And they don't answer you. And the minute that happens, what do we start to tell ourselves? We tell ourselves we're not good enough. They're not interested in the offer. I didn't do a good enough job on the info call. They hate me. They're never coming back. They never want to hear from me again. No, don't tell yourself that story. If you're going to tell yourself a story, let's make up a fun one. Like my favorite one is their cell phone fell in the toilet. They fully intended to message me back, fully intended to sign up. Cell phone falls in the toilet. Now they are so distracted at the cell phone store that they've completely forgotten all about me. Right? I mean, let's just
Yep.
make it good.
Yeah.
Or it could be that they were sitting at how many times has this happened to you? It happens to me. Sitting at a red light and you're like, "Oh, I'll just check a couple messages."
Mhm.
And then the notification is off because you checked it. Then the light turns green and the dude behind you is laying on his horn and you're like, "Oh God." And
Yeah.
so you take off and then you completely forget.
Yeah.
I was going to message Tobias because I was going to sign up for his program.
Yeah.
So it's that imposter syndrome, that perfectionism, and the stories that we like to make up that really just keep us stuck.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, I might be at Starbucks or something like that, and I'll get some of
Mhm.
those messages, and I have to set, a reminder. Otherwise, it happens, you guys. And
Yes.
perfectionism too, it causes paralysis.
Yes.
If you try to be perfect before you start, you'll never get started. I
Uh-uh.
guarantee you. But if you just know that, hey, I just have to like start to get my reps in, how you were
Yeah.
talking about earlier about just getting the reps in, you will get better.
Yes.
Think about think about every professional,
Mhm.
athlete. Let's just
Mhm.
take Kobe Bryant, right? When he first started playing basketball,
Yeah.
he didn't even make his first basketball team,
Right.
right? And you have to just start before
Yes.
you can even suck. Then you
Yes.
suck, and you have to suck before you can get average, right? Because you're
Mhm.
learning, right?
Right.
Then you have to be average before you can get good. Then you start to
Mhm.
get good. Then
Yeah.
obviously, then you can get to, to great and outstanding and all those kind of things. But
Right.
it's okay to suck in the beginning, just knowing it's just part of your path. If
Exactly.
you know it's going to take you, 100 posts before you start to
Mhm.
really put out really good content, you can either stay stuck and be like, wait,
Yeah.
and try to think about it, or you can just like hurry up, get those reps in, get those 100
Mm.
posts out so you can be better faster, right?
Yep.
So it's just some different
Totally.
things.
Totally.
So,
And where you start is not where
mhm,
you're going to end up.
yeah.
Like where I started in my business, I've evolved into the visibility and list growth strategist. And so, and because I see that a lot too. Well, what if I make the wrong decision? You're not a tree that's being planted that can't be moved.
Hmm.
It's where you start. It's not where you're going to end up. Where it's not where you're going to be 6 months from now, a year from now. I love
Yeah.
what you said. I love that. You've got to suck and then you'll be average and then you'll be great. I love that.
Yeah. Thank you. And how important do you think it is for personal storytelling or vulnerability in your content if you want people to join your list or follow your journey?
Mhm. I think a little bit of that goes a long way. My my version of vulnerability is how ridiculous I can be sometimes. Not turning on my microphone, my dog needing to go out to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I go to get on a very important Zoom meeting and all of a sudden Zoom needs an update and I'm like, "Great, thanks." That kind of stuff. I think showing that side creates that human relationship that is so vital to then warming them up into, do they want to buy my offer? I think though it's a fine line. I've seen some people be so vulnerable with things that are super personal that in my opinion, can damage their credibility. It's okay that I share some of my mistakes. The first coach I hired, that was a mistake. The paid ads that I tried to run, that was a mistake. But if I'm talking about, I don't know. I think you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yep.
If you start to go too far with it, it's like, oh, she needs therapy, and I'm
Yeah.
not hiring her.
Yeah. Some people go way
Woo!
overboard.
Yeah.
Talking
Like,
about, yeah, yeah,
don't
I got
share
it.
everything with me.
Yes.
Just give me a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And just kind of closing down, like if somebody only had 30 minutes a day to work on their
Uh-huh.
audience and their list growth, how should they spend their time?
So I have a formula that I teach where you can create one piece of regular weekly content, and from that, everything else you need for the week is born. And so what I help my students do is pick. There's an exercise we walk through where they can map out 90 days of social media content topics. I can give that free training to you for your audience as well. It's tracybeavers.com/social. So we walk you through how to map out 90 days of social media content topics. Then you look at that topic that you've got for that one week. You try to get to 12 topics, 12 topics, 12 weeks, 90 days. That one topic, you're going to write a regular piece of weekly content. Now, I teach that it needs to be a live video or a podcast or a blog, preferably the first two. Live video, there's nothing like it for the algorithm. Podcast, great because they can still hear your voice. Blog, if that's where you want to get started, totally fine. Write that one piece. This is how I save my sanity building alongside my corporate job. Write that one piece and then ask an AI tool, throw what you wrote into an AI tool and say, I need 2 to 3 social media posts about this. Okay. So then you've got your blog that you can post about. Now you've got 2 to 3 social media posts. Now you've got 4 pieces that you can use that week. And then you could even say, if you wrote a blog, you could even go live about it and say, hey, these are the points I'm making in my blog this week. I'm going to teach you da 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 da. Okay. You want to go check it out? Go to tracybeavers.com/blog. Whatever. That's the call to action. Then your email to your list, make it easy on yourself. My email to my list, because I write my live script for my live training. Everything else comes off of that, including my podcast. And my email to my list on Tuesday is, hey, Tobias, this is what I'm going to talk about live on Thursday. This is why you need to be there. I got some teaser content in there for you and a fun way for you. And I'll ask you something fun that makes you want to reply back to me. But don't make it difficult. If you are crunched for time, also pick one day a week that you're going to do this. My day is Friday.
Mhm.
I write the live. I get the email, I get the three or four social media posts, you're done. And that
Nice.
is enough content for you to be consistent, to be emailing your list, to be drawing people to that list, and to be starting to work on your business.
Uh, I love it. Yeah, good stuff, Trace.
Thanks.
And yeah, before we wrap up, if somebody listening today wants to learn more about you, your approach, or just stay connected, where's the best place for them to find you?
Well, they're listening to your podcast right now, and I have one also. It's called Create Online Business Success. So I would love for them to come check me out on my podcast. But if they love free Facebook groups, come into my Facebook group. It is the most beautiful community of support and encouragement. We have almost 4,000 online entrepreneurs in there. They can promote their offers. They can, your audience is fitness coaches. They can connect with other people that are doing the same thing. They can connect with other people that share their same audience for collaborations. It's a really cool place. It's called Be a Confident Entrepreneur. Get visible, grow your email list and your income.
Nice. And Tracy, thank you so much for being here. And this conversation was definitely packed with lots of value. And I know it's going to help a lot of fitness coaches shift the way that they think about visibility and about list building. And for all of you listening, if you got value from this episode, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it. Tag a coach who needs to hear it. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss what is coming next. Thanks for tuning in to the FitBiz Accelerator. If you found value in today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a tip or strategy to grow your online fitness business. And if you're ready to fast track your success, don't forget to check out tntfitprocoaching.com. Until next time, stay consistent, stay focused, and keep crushing it.